Hello everyone, it's Enigma here, and trust me, we're back with another positive video. Anyways, this video is going to be talking about some more Smash speculation, because it's been a while since I've been talking about some Smash speculation, and who I think will get in the game, and my opinion on who I think is going to get in the game has kind of changed, since the Hero video. And sure, not much has really been coming out that's been really, like, deconfirming things, but one thing was deconfirmed in that video that kind of makes me think that we might get another fighter, different fighter as the fourth fighter, or maybe the fifth fighter. I feel like he's gonna be one of these two fighters. I feel it. I don't know why, I just feel it. And that is obviously Doomslayer, if you can tell by the title. I'm starting to think Doomslayer is going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A lot of people might think I'm crazy. A lot of people might think, oh, well, he's too violent. Like, a lot of people will kind of consider this as, like, a meme pick. A character that, you will probably never get in Smash. But I'm actually starting to think this might actually happen. And this is because I feel like a lot of, characters, I just want to mention that, I feel like a lot of characters, like, are starting to get more crazy and more wild as they, are starting to drop. Joker, he was obviously crazy enough, but then we start to get even more crazy newcomers, like the heroes from Dragon Quest, and then Banjo-Kazooie. Obviously, the heroes from Dragon Quest is a huge deal, because, well, probably not to us, because to us, we kind of consider Dragon Quest as, like, a kind of niche series here. But over in Japan, it is such a phenomenon over there, to the point where it's just crazy that they finally get to experience some Dragon Quest characters in Smash. And Banjo-Kazooie is obviously self-explanatory. They've been some of the most requested characters for the entirety of Smash history, ever since Smash 64. So, if Banjo was fighter number 3 in the Fighter's Pass, then who could possibly be the last two? And I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think we're getting any Nintendo characters, because I just don't feel like any Nintendo characters will necessarily meet the hype that the 3 other characters are that have got. I think these are going to be third-party franchises that are going to be introduced to newer people and get these series more popular and out there. And Smash is obviously a good way to do that. And I think that's what Nintendo is approaching with the DLC. So I feel like who could be the last 2 characters that could really top the hype as Joker, Hero, and Banjo? And I have, a lot of ideas. Obviously I've mentioned Leon Kennedy in the past, and while I do still think he has a chance, I'm starting to doubt a little bit, because one reason why I did think that we were going to get Leon, or even a Capcom character in general, was because of the Mii outfit theory. That just felt like a really reasonable theory, and it just made a whole lot of sense, these third-party companies packaging their Mii Fighter outfits with these new characters. I mean, with Joker, when he was added, we got the Knuckles and Tails outfit. So it just made sense, it was just very obvious that that might be Nintendo's approach with this game. But when Hero dropped, we did not get the Geno outfit or the Chocobo hat, so it doesn't seem like that is the approach. Now I'm starting to lean more towards that these characters will be coming from new companies. Companies that, are kind of new to Smash. And the reason why I say this is because we just got Microsoft, which is the first new company. So what if they're now saving the newer companies for last? So now we're into the newer companies. Microsoft obviously got a new rep with Banjo-Kazooie. Now, new companies are going to get reps with the rest of the Fighter's Pass. And I actually think this is reasonable to think. They start off the Fighter's Pass with, companies that already had characters on the roster. Now we're getting into the companies that, have never gotten repped in Smash, and finally companies that are going to be, getting some representation in Smash. And Bethesda is a very likely possibility for a new company that could get repped. Bethesda and Nintendo's relationship is actually pretty strong. Like at Bethesda's horrible E3, we got, like, one of the first announcements was Elder Scrolls Switchblades coming to the Switch, and that was a kind of surprising announcement. I think a lot of people said that probably wouldn't handle on the Switch, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we did get some Switch compatibility at Bethesda's E3 announced. So it's really cool. Nintendo and Bethesda's relationship is actually pretty strong, and I do think it could get stronger in the future. And maybe it can be as strong as Microsoft's. And a lot of people bring up that, Western characters aren't going to happen. The only reason Banjo happened is because, Microsoft was, very buddy-buddy with Nintendo. Well, like I said, Banjo-Kazooie is actually the first Western characters to get in Smash. They actually originated from the United Kingdom and owned by Rare, which is a United Kingdom company owned by Microsoft, which is an American company. So Microsoft, Banjo-Kazooie are the first characters in Smash that had to be negotiated with non-Japanese people to get in Smash, and it kind of opens the door for a lot of people. A lot of people don't really bring this up, but Banjo-Kazooie opens the door for a lot of Western characters, and Bethesda is obviously a candidate for, who can get in. For a potential character. And Doomslayer is easily Bethesda's most iconic video game series. Doom goes way back on the Super Nintendo days. Back in the Super Nintendo days. And, ever since then, I mean, Doom 64 was actually an exclusive on the Nintendo 64. So it obviously means that, Doom is very close with Nintendo, and it's very iconic to gaming. I mean, it's the father of the FPS genre, and I do feel like we do need an FPS character. Now, the thing that could possibly hold a Doomslayer back, and a lot of other FPS characters, is that FPS isn't really a popular genre in Japan. However, Sakurai has actually praised the developers of Doom, and they actually said that he basically confirmed that he actually is a fan of Doom, even though it's not really popular in his home country. So maybe Doomslayer could be an exception, because maybe he wants to get the series more popular in Japan and really start to get the FPS genre popular in Japan, and including Doomslayer is definitely reasonable. I mean, they did it with Dragon Quest to get it popular here, so what if they did the reverse by taking a Western character and getting it popular in Japan? I think that it honestly makes a whole lot of sense, and like I said, Sakurai has praised the developers of Doom, so it could easily happen. Now, let's get into some concrete evidence why I think, Bethesda might get a rep with Doomslayer. And that is because, Bethesda has already admitted that they have had talks with Nintendo about DLC for Smash. They said, someone interviewed Pete Hines, I think? Yeah, Pete Hines was interviewed about if their company was, was in the talks about, a new Smash character, and he said, oh yeah. So he basically confirmed that he has had talks with Nintendo. Now, sure, this might not mean anything, because sometimes, I'm pretty sure a lot of companies are trying to negotiate with Nintendo to get their character in Smash, but by the way that, But the thing that's really interesting, though, is that this was said back in September, and we all know that Nintendo chose the DLC. So, here's the thing. If Nintendo chose the DLC, what if they approached Nintendo first? Because Nintendo obviously chose the DLC, they got all these characters in. So maybe Bethesda didn't even approach Nintendo. Maybe it was Nintendo that approached Bethesda, and Bethesda was open about it. It makes a whole lot of sense, and I think this definitely improves a Bethesda character's chances of getting in, especially Doomslayer. And also, recently, Nintendo just ported a whole bunch of, Doom games over to the Switch. Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 3, and the rumored Doom 64. And this was revealed at QuakeCon, which is, a kind of like a Doom convention where they announced a whole bunch of Doom and other Bethesda games. And that's what they announced for the Switch, was the original Doom trilogy coming to the Switch, and Doom 64 has also been, heavily speculated as well. So what if they port over Doom 64 along with a reveal of Doomslayer in Smash? I think that could be a great tie-in. And, Nintendo has been heavily promoting the Doom series lately on the Switch. I mean, Bethesda has been really open with Switch support. They've been porting over a lot of games over to the Switch. Bethesda really likes the Switch, and I think they would be open to a Smash character because, I mean, look how much they're supporting Nintendo. I mean, they obviously clearly like Nintendo and they want to keep supporting the Switch. I mean, Doom 2016 is on the Switch, and now we're getting Doom Eternal in November. So, again, it would be a great tie-in for Doom Eternal. I mean, that's like the next big Doom game that's coming out, and it's really hype. I've heard a lot of people that are really hyped for it, and it definitely makes a whole lot of sense to bring into Smash, because obviously it would promote the new Doom game. Again, it doesn't really mean that a new character is coming, because again, a lot of third-party companies have had new games, and not everything, it doesn't always mean something, but it's always interesting to point out. It obviously means that Nintendo has Doom fresh on their mind, and it definitely means that Doom is probably a contender on their head for a new Smash character. And now we're getting into some more points. Mick Gordon, the lead singer behind the Doom songs, like for the heavy metal Doom songs, he actually said that he wanted to hire some background singers for a new video game. This was already said when Doom Eternal was already, shown off. So it's unlikely that he meant for Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal was already shown off with some music, and he said this early this year, I think. So, that's very interesting. And he didn't really specify what video game, as if he's trying to keep it a surprise. He just said a video game. So, that's very surprising. It could mean a lot of things, but hey, Smash is always, a guess for something like that. Who knows? Maybe this is a Smash thing. Again, it's not really, huge evidence, but it's something to point out. And, I feel like there's been a lot of evidence for Doomslayer just recently, and it just makes a whole lot of sense for him to be included. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, Doomslayer is not going to get in, because he's most likely going to get in Mortal Kombat 11, except for the fact that Mortal Kombat 11's DLC was already data mined, and no sign of Doomslayer in the code, so it's unlikely that Doomslayer is going to be in Mortal Kombat 11. While it would have been cool, I don't think that Doomslayer is going to be in Mortal Kombat 11, because, he's already, the game was already data mined, with the whole characters, and it doesn't look like Doomslayer is in the code. So, yeah, it doesn't really prove anything. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, Doomslayer would have to be totally toned down, which is really hard. He's too gruesome, he's too violent, and here's what I have to say for that. Snake, Bayonetta, and Joker, they all come from some pretty violent video games. So, since they were kind of toned down, I do believe that Doomslayer can be toned down as well. And if you think about it, I think Nintendo would honestly rather go with his SNES design and go with a lot of his moves from there. And if they use his SNES design, which the only thing there really is in his design is like a ripped up shirt, and there's not really a whole lot of gruesome violence in that game, then I do think that Doomslayer can easily work in Smash. He can easily work. And I do think that it makes a whole lot of sense to include Doomslayer, because he's not really that violent, and I feel like it can easily be toned down, and I do feel like it can happen if they do go with his SNES design. Now, I'm not saying that they can't go with his Eternal design too, but I think that could more so be an alt, with his main alt being the original Doomslayer. So I think that makes a whole lot of sense. So some people might bring up, well, what would Nintendo achieve with getting Doomslayer in Smash? Well, here's something that I can bring up. I feel like Nintendo might want to, strengthen their relationship with a lot of Western companies. Like, obviously, Ubisoft and Nintendo's relationship is strong, and obviously Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft has a character in Smash already, so it obviously means that Nintendo and Microsoft are on good terms. But Bethesda, they're not as strong as I think it could be, and I think that, Nintendo and Bethesda's relationship is probably going to improve in the future with how much Bethesda has been supporting the Switch. It obviously means that they do have interest in Nintendo and the Switch, and they probably want to keep supporting the Switch as much as they can. And if they really want to keep supporting the Switch, they could include Doomslayer in Smash by, negotiating with Nintendo to make it happen. And I think that makes a whole lot of sense to achieve. Doomslayer is a very iconic character, and, I've heard a lot of people that do genuinely want Doomslayer, even though he would be toned down pretty hard. I do think that Doomslayer could be an easily achievable character. I think a lot of people will buy that. Now, some people might bring up, okay, does that go with the unexpected announcements like Joker, Hero, and Banjo? Personally, I think Doomslayer does fit in with characters like them, because I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Doomslayer, he's too violent. There's no way that he's gonna be in Smash." And each and every single one of these characters that are in the DLC Fighters Pass have all been said, people have always said, oh, this character can't get in. Like, people have said Piranha Plant can't get in because he's a generic enemy, and a generic enemy cannot be in Smash. And then they said it for Joker. They said Joker can't be in Smash. He doesn't have a mainline Persona game on a Nintendo system. They've said it for Hero. Hero can't get in. He's not popular in the West. And then people say Banjo can't get in because he's a Western character and he's owned by Microsoft, which is a hardware competitor to Nintendo. Each and every single one of these characters have had something against them that fans have pointed out. And for Doomslayer, it's obviously the fact that he's violent. And a lot of people don't think he can get in because he's violent. And maybe Nintendo might want to include characters that can break all of these fan rules that people have been supporting for all these years. So maybe that is the goal for Doomslayer, is to break another fan rule with, oh, he's too violent, and, make him work in Smash, and also strengthen their relationship with Bethesda, because right now, their relationship is pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as it can be. So I do think that, Bethesda getting a rep in Smash is totally likely, especially since Mii Fighter Outfit Theory is already debunked, and it obviously means that there's other companies that, are going to be getting a rep in Smash. And I think that Bethesda is definitely a top contender for that, because Bethesda's been supporting the Switch a lot. I do see Nintendo and Bethesda negotiating to make that happen. Now, one more final point I want to bring up is that, okay, why wasn't Doomslayer revealed at E3 back when Bethesda was doing it? Well, Nintendo and Microsoft and Square Enix, they already had E3 press conferences, and basically they just started on those characters first, before, who else is to come. I mean, back in December, Sakurai did state that he was working on Joker, Fighter number 2, and Fighter number 3 at the same time, and obviously now we know that Fighter number 2 is Hero and Fighter number 3 is Banjo, but, it does make sense that, he would save, a Bethesda character later on. And that's what happened with Square Enix. Like, back then, even though Square Enix had an E3 press conference back in the day, they revealed Cloud in a normal Direct, like, outside of E3. So it's totally possible that they could reveal a Bethesda character outside of E3 as well. They don't have to wait for an announcement with Bethesda. They can just do it, on their own time. Unless Doomslayer is revealed at the Game Awards as the final character, then I think that can make a whole lot of sense. But, it's totally possible that he could also be revealed in a normal Nintendo Direct. And I think that makes a whole lot of sense. So, in conclusion, I do think that Doomslayer has a very strong chance of getting in. I think he's one of the most likely characters, if not the most likely. I think Leon Kennedy is still up there, but I'm not as confident as Leon as I used to be back when Mii Fighter Outfit Theory still sounded plausible. I think Doomslayer is definitely a likely contender for the game, and I think he's probably the most likely character, and I do think that we're gonna get a Bethesda character / Doomslayer in the game. So yeah. Anyways, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Doomslayer is gonna get in, or is there any other character that you guys just weirdly think is gonna get in Smash? Let me know in the comments down below, and I would love to hear it. Anyways, this has been Enigma, and peace. See you next time.